Good evening, everyone, and we've got a speaker, Kim Lishke. Would you like to come up and up to near Councillor Hooper and do your speech, please? Thank you.
So, Mayor, General Manager and councillors, thank you for hearing me today, and I appreciate the report put together by Colin Kane on behalf of the Greater Hume Shire regarding the purchase of two Tesla electric vehicles purchased by the Greater Hume Shire Council. Just some background for those who do not know, my name's Kim Lishke, one brother of three operating collectively 4 businesses in the Greater Hume Shire. One of them being the oldest business is D. Lishke and Son at Walla Walla. It's been operating in the community for over 102 years. A trivia point of which I only worked out today, but probably quite relevant, is we have a total of 44 employees. Like all small businesses and even large businesses in the community, there are many challenges in keeping these businesses viable. I will say the car industry has become incredibly tough with so many makes and models now available. Greater Hume Shire advertises buy local. I'm going to suggest to you all that this is a great advertisement, but of course it's no real benefit if you don't practice what you preach, as the saying goes. This should be of great importance to you all here this evening, remembering why you are here. Really, without business, employment and residents, the Greater Hume Shire will not have much at all. Maybe it may be good to reflect on who employs you and why you are here. With regards to the comment in the report, a review of company websites was undertaken. I don't doubt that, but if that's the best you can do for businesses in the community, I don't really reckon it sits with the buy local strategies. Lishke Nissan has previously spoken to council staff about electric vehicles and offered them the opportunity to test drive the Nissan Leaf. This is some years ago, 12 months, 2 years ago, of which people did take the opportunity to do. As a side note as well, we invested in the Greater Hume Shire by putting a public charging station at the front of our Walla business. A few questions, and I don't mind if you don't answer them because I've investigated. But where's the nearest Tesla dealer? If there is a warranty repair required, where would this be done? It's all well and good to talk savings to the council, and clearly there is savings for electric vehicles for running costs. I've just lost where I'm up to. If we sold you a Nissan Leaf, for example, the running costs, we would have savings, running costs, and also the resale value would be considered, but I say that would be reflective of all electric vehicles. But that's something we don't know at the end of the time. Unfortunately, in my opinion, this wasn't thought out very well, and perhaps Teslas, were the car that people wanted. I'm not sure. In summary, I'm fully aware that sometimes for different reasons, financially or perhaps suitability, the Greater Hume Shire can't buy within the Shire. But I would like to reiterate that the only reason you are all here to represent, support your local community and residents. One way to do this is to buy local. Support the people that allow you to have a job and the people that invest in the Greater Hume Shire community. This applies to all businesses, not just ours. That's all. Thank you.
Thanks, Kim. Oh, do you want to wait, Kim, and just see if anyone, any questions for Kim.
I'm looking at the lease. I haven't looked at electric cars at all, Ken.
And to be fair, the Leaf is now discontinued and they've got the new Nissan Aria. I suppose it's not really the point. The point for me, I suppose the point that I have is right now, the Greater Hume Shire is driving 2 Teslas. These Teslas are now being an advertisement for Tesla in all you guys and the community. We have an opportunity and we have to support local businesses. You know, if we don't, the community, in my view, is buggered, you know. So, and I know there's times we have to make financial decisions in our business as well. Sometimes, you know, to the best of our ability, we like buying local, but there has been times where we haven't. And there's been financial reasons for those decisions. But I just reckon all you guys are here to support the local community. And if you don't do that, you know, the residents, you know, it flows. It's a two-way street. And I feel very strongly about it. I must say I've seen red when I seen this, and I just like you all as councillors and, you know, general managers and mayors and all that, just to be really mindful. Bring it back home. Yeah, tell your employees, tell people, you know, where you can buy local. Yep.
Thank you. Thanks, Kim.
Thank you.
I'd like to open the meeting in accordance with Council's Code of Meeting Practice. This council meeting is being recorded and will be posted on Council's webpage for public information. All present today are reminded that by speaking, you are agreeing to your views and comments being recorded and published. You are also reminded that if and when you're speaking, you're respectful of others and use appropriate language. Greater Hume Council accepts no liability or any defamatory or offensive remarks or gestures during this council meeting. Councillor Linda, would you like to lead us in prayer?
Yep. I thank you for your presence here. I'm just ask that you guide this meeting, that you give us clear direction and wisdom, that we can have good, robust, honest discussion, and that we can make good decisions that will benefit the businesses and the people of the Shire. In the name of Jesus. Amen.
Thank you. Acknowledgement of country. I'd like to acknowledge that this meeting is being held on the land of the traditional lands of the Wiradjuri people and pay my respect to elders both past, present and emerging. Any apologies or applications for leave? We do have an apology from Councillor Shilk. Can I please have? Thank you, Councillor O'Neill. Seconder. Thank you, Councillor Morton. All those in favour? All in favour? Declared carried. Confirmation of minutes for the previous meeting.
Those minutes are correct.
Thank you, Councillor Hicks. Councillor Linda.
Just an amendment, Madam Mayor.
Amendment, yes.
Yeah, just on the page 21 of the minutes, the last item there, matter of urgency, just lacking a little bit of, Sonia's got it on screen, she'll have it on screen in a minute. Made the amendment in there. Just to capture the little bit of information missing.
So, do you want to read it out?
You want me to read it out?
Yeah, you read it out. Yep. Sure.
That the minutes, so it's just an amendment that the minutes of the ordinary meeting of the Greater Hume Council held at Calcan on Wednesday, the 18th of September 2025, as printed and circulated to be confirmed as true and correct with the following minor changes. Item number 1, page 21, matters of urgency, Glen Ellen Road report. This was the motion and then became the resolution, and no amendment was made as in the current record, as is currently recorded in the minutes. Correct the minutes to reflect that the motion was carried and became the resolution. One motion that the report be brought to council on the current conditions and any planned future improvements of Glen Ellen Road.
I have a seconder for the amendment.
Yep.
Thank you, Councillor Quinn. All those in favour? All in favour, declared carried.
Madam Mayor, that's Councillor Hooper. That's really correction of the minutes, isn't it?
Yes.
The amendments, correct.
Yeah, sorry,
correct.
yes. Report from the minutes. Can you please state the page number and the item number if you have any comments or questions? just have one comment on page 4, 6858. I've secured a meeting with Minister Moriarty on Friday in Holbrook, and I've also had meetings with David Littleproud, Julie Collins, Minister for Agriculture, Federal Minister for Agriculture, Susan Lee and Justin Clancy in relation to the drought. Sorry? No. Sadly,
Can I make further comment to that, Madam Mayor? In the comment, it says council report on the July ordinary meeting. Is that correct?
no, I don't think so. Because we had the summit in August, so it'd be
So that's, it's just a bit of a typo.
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. We did send a letter. You're right. We did send a letter off to the minister beforehand. Yeah.
In July.
So maybe that's what it is. Yeah. Yeah. Any other comments, questions?
Yes, sorry, page 4, the 6907 children's services, fees and charges.
Yep.
Just in the comment, it said will be returned to the September meeting, did we? Which means that
We did, yes,
it's 100% complete then, isn't it?
through you, Madam Mayor. Yes, Councillor O'Neill. We've exhibited, we've put it back, and now we've got it up as an amendment for our fees and charges. So it has been adopted, and we're currently practicing that now.
So then we can't put, yeah,
To be honest, that might be a typo, so we should have had it at 100%. So we'll make that correction.
No other comments, questions? No? Disclosures of interest, please.
yes, I have. For item 4, corporate and community services, yeah, item number 4, request financial assistance, Ginger Netball Club, as a relation is involved in that.
Thank you, Councillor O'Neill. I also have a non-pecuniary interest in that same item that I'll be stepping out of the room, just have a relationship with the builder. So, no Merrill minutes, notice of motion. Councillor Lindner, would you like to speak to your first motion?
I'm sure you'll have that time to go through that. I just think that we've failed our ratepayers as far as to be able to give them adequate information regarding such a significant potential development within the Shire. And the reason I say that it's that they're not just putting like a little garden shed up in the hills. It's going to be like potentially a pole 300 metres high with 90-metre blades, and it's going to it's going to have effect whether you're in favour of it or whether you're against it. And to not keep us councillors informed, I think that's no good.
Sorry, I should have asked for a move. You're the mover. Second.
Yeah,
Sorry. Thank you, Councillor Hicks. Can I speak against it, if that's okay? Thank you for your motion. I'd like to respectfully point out that, you know, the concerns that you've raised in your notice motion have already been addressed in a detailed communication provided to all councillors on the 19th of August. That email outlines the February briefing with Tetris Energy and the nature of the proposed development, the engagement process and the steps being taken to ensure transparency and community involvement. To reiterate, all councillors now receive detailed weekly updates from the staff and the acting general manager, a protocol implemented specifically to improve communication and to ensure everyone is kept informed. The February meeting was a preliminary briefing, not a formal council workshop, which is why it wasn't flagged earlier. I was present in an observational capacity only, which I stated in my email. I had meetings scheduled before and after, and the staff also advised that only 1 in 4 meetings that they have with renewable developers actually end up in active projects. So this was treated accordingly. Alinta Energy formally presented to council at the workshop on the 3rd of September, a session that had been delayed due to the company changing its ownership, and they were intending to come a lot earlier. This ensured all councillors were briefed directly and had the opportunity to ask questions and engage with the proposal. The Gerodgery community has formed a Save Tabletop group. A public meeting was held at the Gerodgery Hall on the 22nd of September and attended by over 120 concerned residents. Council continues to listen to and share their concerns. Respectfully, I would be happy to write to the mayors of both Albury and Wagga City and ask whether they have an interest in the proposed wind farm. However, I believe that primary focus should remain within our shire, supporting the Gerodgery and Tabletop communities who are directly impacted. At this stage, council has not adopted a formal position of the proposal, and rightfully so. The project has not yet been progressed through the planning system, and many details remain preliminary. However, I would like to propose that the council hold a dedicated workshop to discuss the development of renewable policy, energy policy for Greater Hume. This would allow us to proactively shape our approach to the future developments, clarify expectations around community benefits, which has been lots of changes, and land use and environmental standards to ensure that we have consistent framework to guide our decision making. And given these facts, I would need to ask for your motivation in bringing forward that motion when I have already addressed those issues in my email. So I just think it's been a waste of council's staff time, but I respect that you brought it forward. So thank you.
And am I allowed to respond?
Sure.
So you think 6 months from knowing about the first proposal to actually informing us after I requested if you knew anything about it is adequate?
Like I said to you, I was in an observational, I wasn't really meant to be in that meeting. It was only because I had meetings before and after. I took some notes, which I shared with you when you asked them. No, I think that they had the intentions of coming and addressing the council much sooner than that happened. So I think that was probably contributed to the lag, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just that I had a stern word, I received a stern word from a resident wanting to know what's going on, and they said, I'm sure your council would have been informed, and I just said, well, I hadn't heard anything. And then, as I've already had the discussion with you, the article in the paper also stated, and you indicated that it wasn't correct, but that councillors were informed earlier in the year. And even in a situation like this, where it's maybe just 1 in 4 may go ahead, just a simple, hey team, just letting you know that I've come across this. This may be something we've got to look at down the track. So at least that way we're informed. It's like, it's very embarrassing when ratepayers actually come to you and tell you stuff about what's going on in your shire, and as an elected member that you don't know about it.
I think it actually got out into the community from people, concerned people that had heard it on the grapevine.
Definitely. Yeah.
And I did tell you that they did misquote me, and that happens all the time, Council Linda. You know that.
That's correct.
But yeah, look, I respect what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But like I said, I was really just sitting in the room. I did take notes, but it's a long way. It was a long way off. I thought they were coming back to us earlier. It didn't happen because they changed hands. Yes, it could have been done better. Absolutely.
And so therefore, it's like, I think it's imperative that we actually host some sort of an information session for the community, so that because there's a lot of level of angst, and whether you're for or whether you're against. So at least information is something that will help ease intention.
Can I please speak to that point there, Councillor Linda? I'd be very hesitant to do so until we've formed an opinion as a council on where we stand. I wouldn't be for facilitating any such community consultation until we've got an official stance on the matter. We have to take it to a meeting, in my belief. I'm also of the belief that whilst I understand and I appreciate and I sympathise with the concern within the community, I think that community consultation needs to be initiated by the company, and we can put pressure on the company to do that. However, I'd be very, very wary about us organising that consultation ourselves. Yeah, just at this stage. Maybe moving forward, once we've brought it to a meeting, that might be an option, but right now I'd be against that. Yep.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I have a bit of a different opinion, Madam Mayor. I think the horse is bolted with 1 or 2, whatever the horse might have been able to do or didn't do. Number 3 is very important. Where I come from, people are making all sorts of comments and asking all sorts of questions. I think we should have the proponents come to the meeting, and we come to the meeting and listen to what they've got to say, and then let the community make a decision. I'm all for going to see the Minister for Planning. Already talked to people in the district, and I'm quite happy to go with them if nobody else is going to do anything. If you sit back and wait, there's all sorts of things through you, Madam Mayor, the council. There's also people all over the place saying, but there's no wind up there. If you're in a brigade, you know where the wind is and wind isn't, sort of thing. And there's one hell of a wind up there. And the company are very, very smart. The propaganda they put out, they want to put up just a little windmill up there to just test the waters, sort of thing, And in the meantime, the people are throwing stones all sorts of ways and burning up all their adrenaline. And eventually it dies down and they'll offer a bit of compensation and it might go ahead, sort of thing. But if we get, it goes from right through Albury, right up to almost Wagga, where they're looking at actually, we give the people the opportunity, through you, Madam Mayor, to come to a meeting, to talk to the company. I think we've done a fair bit of what we're supposed to do. It's up to them to make the next move, then, sort of thing. But otherwise, they'll just move along and move along. In 3 years' time, you'll find out she's almost ready to build. It will take one hell of an effort, through you, Madam Mayor, to convince Paul Scully to change. Because the organisation he belongs to, the Australian Labor Party, are committed to do this right across the country. But I think that you've got all round tabletop these little signs up and people think they're doing something. I was very involved with the reserve Hume years ago, and we spent a hell of a lot of time and energy and money and adrenaline. And it was a done deal long before we started. So if we can act as a conduit to put the information out there, let the people make the decision. If they want to throw stones.
So don't you think that we need to have a formal stance before we do that, though?
No, I don't think. I think we could argue for months or years. Don't know what the politics around the table is, but there's 9 of us. Statistics show that 3 out of 9 voted for the present government. That's the data. Whether it's by preferences or whatever else, and good luck to us all. Statistics also show that it's 1.5 Greens and all that. So I don't think we're going to come to an attitude on it. It'll be the same as the solar debate we had years ago. But if we put the information out there, get the company in the area, put the information out there for the people, they can make the decision how they want it.
It's to
Just for the purpose of providing a bit of background information about the process that renewable companies go through in terms of consultation, because it's not the first one in our council area. All councillors here know that we've had 4 major projects, and so companies approach the Department of Planning, Housing and Infrastructure for terms of reference to go away and prepare an EIS, and it's called a CES. And when they do that, they produce a background paper that is like an initial assessment of that. It just outlines the proposal that they're wanting to bring forward, and it's a very basic assessment. And then government agencies like councils get to review that and make a response to the CES, which is the things that the company has to put in their EIS. And typically, things that hit the EIS is all of them, but a section on most EIS is the consultation that the company is required to do, and they report back on that in their EIS. So between the CES being released, which is what will be in the EIS, they get they get the terms of their EIS, they go and produce the EIS, and then in that period between that document and the production of the EIS, consultation happens by the company, and they report on that, whatever that may be. And that could be walking sessions that they have. It could be letters to landowners, all kinds of things that happen. And if councillors were really interested as to what consultation happens, we could bring that forward to the department in our response to the SEARs, and we haven't got to that stage yet because the company hasn't sought their SEARs. And so it's very, very preliminary. But when they put their SEARs in, normally the staff respond to that, and we outline what we would like to see in the EIS, and we would have the opportunity then to say, well, you know, we would like very detailed consultation done by the proponent, and then they would have to report on that consultation in the EIS. So I think generally the industry practices is that consultation is required by the applicant.
But we're talking a long way down the track.
A long way. It may never even progress to that. Many proposals.
Councillor Lynn is suggesting that if we get ahead of the game, and Councillor Quinn saying, if we get ahead of the game and we ask them to come, we can't facilitate it. I don't think, because we haven't got a formal stance.
Oh, whether you facilitate something doesn't necessarily mean you have a formal stance on it. You just make it known that you're a facilitator, not in it or against it. You're just facilitating.
And whether they accept the invitation or not, at least we can say to our ratepayers, well, we've asked them to come and brief you, so then it's on them.
Through you, Madam Mayor, if I can just add, working with landholders between Albury and Wagga, I know dozens and dozens have been approached by wind, solar and battery projects. Quite a few of them, especially in the middle along those hills, have been approached by 4, 5, 6 companies. So I think it's going to just keep coming at us no matter what we do. Aside from that, where I grew up in Western Victoria, it's miles and miles of wind turbines. My family have all been affected or involved to some degree. And the way it seems to come is that the company won't go public until they have landholders signed up and it has started their process on assessments. So it's going to be a long time before we get told about it, really, I think, on most of those projects. So, and the one query I did have, one person who supposedly is in the know said that if a council vote against a project, they can't go ahead. I wouldn't think that's correct. Does anyone know?
Through Madam Mayor, that basically means that I think it has to go to a independent planning.
Yeah.
Yep. They'd be state significant.
Development.
Which we did.
Every single solar farm.
Councillor Quinn and I spoke to one of the panels early on when I joined council, and it's just a tick and flick.
Yep.
Pretty much.
I do think we're going to have a lot of this coming up with wind, solar, more wet solar and batteries. And I do know around Mangapla there's an action group started there with a battery and a solar farm that in Wagga Shire that is going through all the same issues, but the company won't come out and brief anyone until they're ready.
We can definitely, sorry.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I attended the meeting at Juradri, and the people who facilitated that action group meeting had approached the company for a response, and they refused, saying that it's currently in feasibility stage and they're not prepared at this stage to even entertain talking to the community.
Through you, Madam Mayor, perhaps what a possible outcome in this scenario is, rather than trying to organise a large community consultation session for Atlanta, perhaps, I'm sure the Safe Tabletop group has a number of leaders within that committee, and we invite them to one of our workshops to have a discussion with the councillors as a first step, and maybe hear the other side of the story now that we've heard from the actual company. So I'd probably be more in favour of something along those lines than hosting a larger scale at this stage until we've got a little bit more further information or a stance.
Does anyone have an appetite for the policy that I mentioned in the, do you think that we need to have like a workshop to work out a renewables policy for the Shire?
Absolutely, Madam Mayor.
That's Linda.
I'm inclined to agree with the comments that Councillor Quinn made, and I think it would be very difficult to come to a firm and united decision when it comes to that, because everybody's got differing views and opinions. So yeah, I mean, but to be honest, I can't see us coming to a unanimous decision. So.
Well, I guess it doesn't need to be unanimous. That's democracy, isn't it, really? So, yeah. So anyway, I'm in your hands. What would you like to do with the motion? Do we put it? We've all had enough discussion? Yes? All those in favour of the motion? Councillor Lindner, Councillor Hicks, Councillor Quinn. Against? Councillor O'Neill, Councillor Morton, Councillor Lister, Councillor Hooper. I do think that we should write. I think we should write to the mayors, though, Councillor. I think we should write to Albury and Wagga mayors. I'll see the Wagga mayor on Friday, actually. So I'm very happy to have a conversation and start the ball rolling. I think it's important to do that. Your second motion, Councillor Lindner. Can I have a seconder, please?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councillor Hicks.
Yeah, that's in relation to our community priorities, the community priorities that were presented back last October. I think that's something, whilst there might not be a lot of funding available right at present, I think it's something that we need to be able to keep front and centre, like for all of us councillors at all times. Because a classic example was I subscribe to Grant Guru, and so if I'm aware of something that the community is wanting and it's right front and centre, it's like, well, then I can actually either contact a councillor that's in that community or someone that's nearby or that I know in the community. Hey, have you thought about potentially applying for this grant? And I do think that it's also a major step forward when we appoint a new general manager, that this information will help fast track them regarding community priorities, and it will save them hours and hours of work of community consultation, as it has already been done for them. And just a little bit of research I also did. So if you're wanting to know where you can find those updates, they were sent out, the latest update ones were sent out on the 1st of the 11th, 24, the 15th of the 11th, 24, the 2nd of the 12th, 24, and the 12th of the 12th, 24, all our communities' priorities.
Any other comment? Sorry.
Add a comment. Given that we are now in October 2025, perhaps it's better that we do that process again now, because it's no good going back to 12 months ago, because things have changed everywhere, and get up to date. And then
Through you, Madam Mayor, didn't we do this through our strategic planning that we commenced? Maybe not anything specific, no, but I seem to recall in the last few months, the Councillor Linda brought a motion that projects be removed from our paperwork in order not to confuse the community. So through you, I'd like to ask Councillor Linda, I'd really like to see some clarity as to whether you want them in or whether you want them out. We've spent a lot of money and a lot of time on community consultation, and we've just put together a strategic plan. I wonder about the cost and the backdating and the stepping back and looking at things over and over again. And I'm just a bit confused as to why you raised that when we've discussed that on several occasions, and you'd put a motion that those things be taken off the table.
Well, just to make a correction for you, for Moreton. The issue that I asked to be removed was in relation to 4 million that was in our budget. And it gave the community false hope because that 4 million was just a rubber figure. It does not exist. It would only exist if there was a miracle and a massive big bag of cash fell from the sky into the laps of the Shire. So it has nothing to do with this motion at all. That this is hours and hours of communities in their CDCs and their forums engaging with other community groups within their communities to work out, okay, so for our community, what do you think are our priorities? How would you rate it from 1 to 5? What do you think are the things that we need the most? And so as councillors, if we've got those for each of our communities front and centre in front of us, like I said, anytime we happen to hear of a grant or anything like that available, we've got the opportunity to pass that on because we know that there's no money coming or very little money coming from grants, very little sizable amounts of money coming from grants. And whilst I agree and I disagree with Councillor O'Neill, there's very few projects on those community lists that have actually been done, actually been ticked off within the last 9-10 months. So therefore, I'm sure if you went back to the communities, you would find that they're all very relevant.
Look, I would probably agree with you because there's been no money available. And yes, they probably need a little tweak, I guess. The only concern that I have with that is that we didn't include all the little villages, which I think was probably a mistake, that we should have included all them. So perhaps we need to refresh it and, I don't know. I'm in your hands, councillors.
Make it more, I'd like to see it be more substantial.
Through you, Madam Mayor, just a little bit of clarity. So I do agree with that, with Councillor Linda, sorry, in that they shouldn't be forgotten, what's the work that's gone in there. If there's no change from December last year to now, the presentations that we've been still stand. So it's just a matter of us reviewing that, perhaps in a workshop, rather than a report to council, and just to refresh our memory and to discuss. In reference to the grant funding, I understand where you're coming from, noting that most grants require contribution from council too. So if it's not in our 4-year budget, it's unlikely we can apply for the grant because it needs to be aligned with a budget, unless it's a 100% grant, which is pretty unlikely. But I just think that it's probably a chance for through a workshop to review this rather than a report to council in a paper.
Do you think that we should be inviting the villagers to,
Well, I think we've done that, but we probably would be more beneficial to have a discussion as councillors about it.
Yeah.
In my view, yeah.
So are you happy, Councillor, if we put in a workshop it?
Yeah, that's fine.
Can I just point out about the whole grant thing? I think we've all got access to Guru Grant and Nolene passes on things that she sees relevant to different communities anyway. I've said got that huge list on her emails that she sends forwards things to.
So, Councillor Hooper, would you like to make an amendment to the motion, please?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Seeing where you.
My amendment would read as the council, the community priorities as circulated on the 12th of the 12th, 2024, be brought back to a council workshop for discussion amongst councillors. Determination of future project.
I'll second that so we can keep things right.
Yeah, you happy with that? Yeah. And Councillor Hicks has seconded it.
24.
Sorry. We'll just wait for the. So mover is Councillor Hooper and second is Councillor Hicks. All those in favour? All in favour, declare to carry.
Probably becomes the motion,
Yeah.
doesn't it? So, yeah.
Right, yes, you're happy to be the same mover and seconder? Councillor Hooper and Councillor Hicks. Now the motion. All in favour? All in favour, declare to carry. Thank you. Item number 1, environmental and planning licence lots 192, 205, DP 753342.
I'll move the recommendation.
Thank you, councillor Hicks.
Second that, Mayor.
Thank you, councillor Quinn. Any dissent? No, I'll put it. All those in favour, declared it carried. Item number 2, Ginger Pony Club licence.
Move the.
Thank you, councillor O'Neill.
I'm
Seconder,
happy to second.
councillor Lindner. Any dissent? Questions? I'll put it. All those in favour, declared it carried. Governance, item number 1, tenancy at 31A Balfour Street, Colcan, lease for Feed the Soul Cafe. The motion, a recommendation is on page 8 of 55. Can I have a mover?
I'll make that.
Thank you, councillor Morton. Seconder, councillor Hooper. Any dissent? No, put it. All those in favour, declared it carried. Item number 2, response to notice of motion, purchase of electric vehicles. The recommendation is on page 10 of 55. For mover and seconder. Thank you, councillor O'Neill.
Noted.
Seconder,
Well, I'll second that. I'd also like to say that,
Hicks is seconded.
yeah, as we've had the presentation from Kim, and we're just doing a desktop research on it, perhaps we need to make sure that we pick the phone up and actually speak directly to the businesses, so we're not inundated with businesses in Greater Hume. And a 5-minute phone call could, help with us getting the right information first up. So just want to add that.
Absolutely. Noted. Thank you.
Good question,
Yes.
Madam Mayor, to the director. We don't pay fringe benefit tax.
Through you, Madam Mayor, currently on an electric vehicle, there is an exemption on fringe benefit tax. That's what makes the electric cars desirable. But that at some point will have an end point when the government determines that the job's being done, I guess. So for now, it's an incentive, but you are exempt from fringe benefit tax on electric vehicles.
Pretty good, Madam Mayor. Is it a Commonwealth government incentive, or who pays it? The tax department wouldn't be missing out. They'd be getting paid one way or the other.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I think it's a federal incentive, but I'm not sure on the mechanics in the back end.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? No, put that motion. All those in favour? Well, it's a recommendation, sorry. Declared it carried. Item number 1 in corporate and community services, interim quarterly budget review. New reports in there.
I'll move that recommendation.
Thanks, councillor Hicks. Councillor Liston. Any questions?
There's an amendment I'd like to see it lay on the table. I didn't get mine until late Monday, and there's a heap of things there I'd like to question. Lay on the table until next month. I'd be happy. I'll move the amendment that way anyway.
Certainly, councillor Quinn, seconded for the amendment. Thank you, councillor Lindner.
Can I actually speak to the amendment?
Sure.
Is there any sort of a policy that indicates how soon something like that needs to actually be sent out to councillors? Because I personally couldn't do it due justice in 2 or 3 days to go through something that, to be honest, I need 2 weeks.
Through you, Madam Mayor, councillor Linda, if you're referring to the Office of Local Government has implemented a new set of worksheets, and these are the templates I'm assuming that the councils are referring to. So we were given the information. It became effective in August. We were briefed in September by the Office of Local Government. There was a significant number of councils that were in the briefing. There was definitely concerns raised at the time by the councils around the structure of the worksheets, the fact it's pre-populated, it doesn't necessarily correspond with our own current reporting. They said, acknowledge that there could be changes to come, but it is effective, and you need to report into your councils in October, November, and you need to submit it by the OLG by the end of November. So we were, by the time we got our budget review, because we're still in audit, so we were auditing end of financial years, we're getting a quarterly budget, and then we're then adopting a new process on these worksheets that were only released at the very end. We just, unfortunately, and I totally agree, more than happy to carry over into November, because we just wanted to give everyone the information now as we could get it out as quickly as we could, So I completely acknowledge the time frame there. And I think that's a valid concern of a lot of councils with these worksheets. So because we are obligated, every council in New South Wales is now mandated to submit their Part A reports and these templates 3 out of 4 periods of the year.
Yeah.
So they're trying to standardise across when you look at another council, everyone's figures, because everyone reports and categorises things slightly differently. So they're now trying, but it's not a one size fits all. But I have got some notes and I'm more than happy to workshop the worksheets for you so you understand where the figures are being pulled from. They do look slightly different to the information we're providing, but it's a consolidation of all of our financials being sucked into a summary spreadsheet. Water and sewer are kept separate because they have to be reported on separately. So I'm more than happy to have a workshop if that would be helpful around the new procedure of what the sheets look like and where the numbers are coming from. But I can understand if you want to defer into November. But we have to submit our reports by the end of November. We're mandated to.
We'd just be laying it on the table to the November meeting.
Yeah, love it.
I would totally agree because I didn't give it justice either. You know, flick through and you miss things and that's not doing our job properly. So I would agree with that.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's like us as councillors, our heads are on the chopping block.
Yeah, exactly.
Passing this sort of stuff. So
Agreed.
thanks.
Any other comments? No? I'll put the amendment. All those in favour? All in favour? That now becomes the motion. So same mover and seconder, is that okay? Councillor Quinn, Councillor Hooper? Yep. All those in favour? Declare it carried. Thank you. Office of Local Government model of code of conduct meeting practice. On item 2, recommendation is on page 15. Thank you, Councillor Linder. Councillor Liston, any comments? I talked about it enough. I'll put it. All those in favour? All in favour, declare it carried. Public interest disclosure policy, PID policy, item number 3. The recommendation is on page 16.
I'll move the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Hicks. Councillor Morton, any dissent? Put it. All those in favour? All in favour, declare it carried. I'm now stepping out of the room. Councillor Hooper.
Okay, so we'll talk to item number 4, request for financial assistance to the Junior Netball Club.
I'll move the recommendation.
Yes, Councillor in the second.
And I move that we suspend standing orders to facilitate a discussion around this because it's sort of only just coming up recently.
All in favour of going into suspending standing orders?
Yep.
All in favour. So, would you like to open the discussion?
Oh, look, I'm hoping somebody else wants to go, but it just concerns me that we're starting to carry the can for a lot of these projects that have gone over budget, and I'm just sure how we can manage these sort of things going forward because it's really been a big issue. We've had a lot of problems in the last 4 years with different projects, and here's another one that's popped up which has had a major overspend. So I know we have to deal with this evening, but I think it's important to have some sort of a framework, I guess, going forward to avoid these issues.
Through you, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, I agree, Matt. It's come out of left field for me. It's a big call. I suppose at the end of the day, we're going to end up with a council facility that'll be very good.
Our maintenance budget going forward, and when it's time to replace it, so it's not only the initial, it's the ongoing.
Yeah, so, and I suppose I'm not sure what options are there, whether we provide a loan, whether we go backing for a loan for someone for them to get a borrow elsewhere, or what. I think it probably at this stage, I'm sure there's a builder that's been paid or wants to be paid. he's probably in the position he's paid all his tradies, etc. Yeah, it's just a bit of a tough one.
Through you, Mr. Chair. I've written a little bit to this, and I have a foreshadow a motion towards it. I acknowledge that projects do go over budget and they do risk tax ratepayers to bear the burden of that overspend. Builders should be paid, especially in this current economic climate when building companies are stretched to the max to deliver projects on budget. Raises concerns about the transparency, however, that of the communication between the said netball club and the builder, given timeline as to when they became aware that this overspend happened, and that the short time that we've been presented with this request, I'd like to, going forward, hope that we don't have to be put on the spot like this again so quickly. It's ultimately a valuable asset, as Councillor Liston said, and we do have the facility to assist with it. But given the council is responsible for the shortfall either way, I propose that the loan be offered under exceptional circumstances with a 5% interest rate. But I'd like us to have a second part to a motion which sets out an opportunity to protect ratepayers in the future if such infrastructure projects do come up and go overspend, such as this one. I'll head towards the fact that this project is on Crown land managed by Greater Hume Shire, and I'd like us to set a policy around project management, that projects of a certain value be managed by council to ensure that they are delivered on time and on budget, and that there's reporting throughout the process. Over to anybody else who wants to discuss this.
My main concern, Mr. Chairman, is that that resolution in front of us is impossible for them to keep. How the hell are they? That's not breaching the code of meeting for us. How in the hell are they going to pay off 190 grand over 10 years at 5%? You know, I'd put a levy on every netball, and of course everybody will shoot me down, but that's the same as Spoonville. It's the only way things will get paid. There's no way known. They can, I didn't do the maths, but I was doing pretty quickly on what they'd have to have an annual repayment. It's a good business investment for the council director if it worked. Can it possibly work?
Through you, Deputy Chair. Councillor Quinn, we have met with their secretary and the Vice President of Ginger and Netball Club. They've given us their projections. So they have broken down what it costs them as a club, and it's around 30 to 40,000 to operate each year. They're currently making around 70 to 80. And how they do that is through fundraising activities, sponsorship, and they have some pretty solid backers in terms of that club that aren't going anywhere. Some big families and family business that are going to support them at this stage. And we don't know, the same would be said if we guaranteed a loan for them and they defaulted, we would still be left holding accountability of the liability. So it's whether or not we're prepared to go with a third party and have to, kind of answer to them, or whether we prefer to manage it in-house. I completely agree with Councillor Hicks and Councillor Morton in their concerns around moving forward. We all agree, everyone, all the executive have agreed on that. We need to strengthen our position from the very onset when clubs want to start building assets on our council crown land. So at this stage, we have set out a loan schedule. We've checked their finances with what they are telling us and providing to us. The evidence is that, yes, they will. They're a strong financial club and that they're committed. They're stable. So through that, possibly, they've got some big raffles to do, and the sponsorship of all their sponsors as well is going to generate that additional income for them to service the loan.
I respect, Director, I respect that you believe their response, but I'll tell you how they pay it off, through the solar farm money. A little bit, everything I own on that station too, just quietly. That's how they know how to play the game.
So voluntary contribution, is that an option?
Oh,
Through you?
well, look, that would be
That depends on the committee.
depends on the committee. Exactly. That's right.
That's where it's.
And I don't think there'd be, if there was grants available that they could apply through the committee and they were able to pay down the loan through that, I don't see any harm in that anyway. But often a lot of grant programs are not for money that's already been spent. And it's I couldn't tell you an instance where you can apply for grants for money that's already been expended. So in this case, I would say that's probably unlikely. But if it was possible, I couldn't see the harm in it anyway. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still a community asset. And if the, I don't think that would be an issue, really.
Well, as long as the money comes. But the only other concern I've got is that if we go on, I'm not saying I haven't made a decision yet, but next month's meeting, another community group pops up and says they want 50K. We say to them, sorry, but she's a no-go zone for what, how many years?
So
obviously it's going the value is going to come down over time. I understand that, but it's still going to be probably 2 or 3 years before someone.
So if I can talk to that, my thoughts are, I agree with what you're saying, Councillor Hicks, and perhaps there's an opportunity to look for some additional funding into this initial $250,000 pot that's allocated to this. I don't have such an issue with the money because I think the club's done a great job in getting this asset. This is a $1.3 million asset that is now being handed over to council. It's the community's done a service to council to get this new building that's fit for purpose, that meets current codes, that encourages inclusion, all those things, ticks all those boxes. I think I have huge concerns with the process, as it sounds like many of you do. A project of this scale should never be run by a private group. It should be run by council. It's a council asset on council ground, and I think we have to learn from that. So I don't have an issue with the lending of the money. I think the 5% is too high. If you ask me, it is. We benefit off it, Councillor Quinn, big time. And
Sorry for interrupting. Yeah. What I was trying to say, maybe I was too verbose. They cannot pay, even though the director thinks they cannot pay that loan off at 5%, and they would know that they could shop around and get one for 3.7.
So through you, Deputy Mayor, the only facility they were offered was definitely not under 5%. So when it comes to a bank, some banks turned them away, didn't want to know about it. The one local bank that was interested in it certainly isn't at a home loan rate. It's actually at more of a business rate. So the interest rates are higher. So how we worked out our interest rate is it's what we offered the Henty Showground Committee when they came to us in 2023 for money. The only other community loan we've had that's still outstanding is 2018 was the Colcan Netball Football Club, who did the same thing, like resurfacing of the ground. So that they're the only two loans. So 2018, 2023. The 2023 loan was at 5%. We make it so it's more than what we'd be earning on our bank interest rate, so that we're not losing money and the community aren't losing money. It's a loan, and we won't do worse off than if that money was in our bank account and internal restrictions. So that's how we've had to put a financial edge on it, so that we're not disadvantaging ratepayers. Because it's not ratepayers' job to fund individual sporting community projects. We understand that. So that's why.
I've done that time and time again since I've been a councillor. So
I'm going to move that we go, we'll resume standing orders and let's put this to the vote.
Thank you. Well,
Can I just make one real quick comment?
I have a motion.
I've only got two concerns, and Councillor Hooper's already raised one of them. It's like, how on earth did this get through that council weren't overseeing this? And the other thing that does concern me is the tone of the letter. Like the actual letter, it's like, well, you've got to do this or you've got to do this. And I don't think that that's that's just personal.
Sorry, councillor, through you. When you say the tone of the letter, are you referring to the recommendation? Like what part of the letter?
Letter are you referring to?
The one referring to, well, you've got two choices, either give us the money or
So, yeah,
you've got to be a guarantor anyway.
I was the writer of that report, and legally they are our two options. So because we are the land, like the land, even though it's a Crown land, we have the.
It's vested in the Greater Hume.
Either way, we will be ultimately responsible because the bank won't give them an independent loan without something securing it.
Well, it can't sell the asset. That's the issue. It's like it's
Yeah.
You can't liquidate it.
So,
Having said all I said, Mr. Acting Chairman, it might be a small price we've got to pay to learn how we should do it properly.
And I think that's a very good
Yep.
understanding of the situation, councillor Quinn.
Make sure it doesn't happen again.
That's correct.
At the end of the day, we still benefit with a $1.3 million development. So even if we wear the costs.
Now,
So
if you want to put that, I don't think you need to. You don't need to do an amendment. I don't think to that motion.
Well, I
Would you
have
mind
got an amendment that's quite comprehensive, councillor Hicks.
Would you mind read that again for us, thanks?
I have not read
You
the
haven't
motion
got
out.
Oh,
This is the
yeah.
limit to
Oh,
the
what's
motion.
we're doing?
The
do we
recommendation.
need to resume
You
standing?
need to resume standing on.
Yeah, we better resume standing order so that you can then do your amendment. We'll see how it goes.
So I'll second that we,
I don't know if you can as a chair though. Can you?
I can do.
I'll second it.
sorry. So can we just
So
back
we're
that
back
to
to
seconded
standing
by councillor Liston, the resume standing orders,
Yeah.
please?
Yes.
And then we've got to vote for resuming standing orders. All in favour? Oh, councillor Morton's got an amendment.
Okay, my amendment is to council, there are two parts to this amendment. The first part is that council, subject to compliance with council policy, loans and community groups, clauses 9, parts A to C, and on completion of satisfactory financial checks, provide a loan of $190,000 at the interest rate of 5% over the term of 10 years to the Gindra Netball Club as an exceptional circumstance. Yep. Part 2 of this amendment is that council commits immediate formulation of a policy requiring the following. All infrastructure projects located on Crown land and managed by Greater Hume Shire Council with a project value exceeding $100,000 must be project managed by council. Part 2, a progress and reporting schedule be established prior to the commencement of any such project. And the third part is that budget compliance reporting be incorporated in each progress report to ensure financial oversight and accountability throughout the project's life cycle. And
So do we have a
Well, I'll
second?
second that, but I want to just say something that the first part of it is pretty much the same as what we've got here already on the recommendation that I'm looking at, but I may be mistaken.
I'd like to be able to name the policy.
No, just let me finish. We're having a discussion about this, and I can speak against the amendment if I wish. What I would suggest is that the second part with your dot points is that you raise that as a matter of urgency at the end of the meeting, because I don't believe that that has anything to do with the offering of a loan. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that it's not, what you put up is not very valid and that we need to do that, but I don't feel that it's necessary in the giving of the loan. I think we should have that as a matter of urgency at the end of the meeting, and then it can be a standalone item. That's just an opinion on, but anyway, that's.
Sure.
Councillor
Better process.
Councillor, I'd actually prefer to workshop the amendments, so we've actually got time to make it clear, because I think community groups can manage such projects provided everything is open and transparent with council. Like council are actually working with the project manager on the whole thing. So when everything's all out in the open, I don't see that we'd run into the same situation as we have here.
I don't see eye to eye with that one, councillor Linda, but we need to sort out this amendment first. So
We'll just.
we'll just put the amendment to the vote to begin with. Yeah, and I think there's some validity in what you've raised there, councillor Hicks.
Yeah,
So,
that's a bit right. I'm in your hands as always.
so can you just go up, please, so I can see the initial motion, initial recommendation? So, because it does cover the first point, doesn't it? Yes. Okay. Okay, we'll put the amendment to a vote. All in favour? All against? Okay. So
So you have to cast.
So it's lost. So we'll put the original motion to the vote. Do we have a councillor for and against? We already got that.
Well, I think we might have moved that
Yes, so
discussion, didn't we? So
yep. So let's put that. Councillors for. Councillors against. So the motion's carried.
yeah, so you get one.
Okay.
Yes, I think so.
Sorry, that was complicated.
So just to be clear, we've moved the original motion.
Correct.
Correct. Yes.
The amendment was lost.
So
Yeah.
it's back to the original motion.
Sonia, I suggest you keep that terminology for the matter of urgency. You happy to get the others in?
Yes.
Engineering, item number 1, Glen Ellen Road petition.
Move the recommendation.
Thank you. Councillor Hicks, councillor Linda, any comment?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Yes, certainly. Yep.
Whether I can put in as number part 4 or not. Just a suggestion, we've got 2 battery storage. You know, so I'll have to call them. I don't really know what you call them.
Yes,
Yes, yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Pardon me,
I'm
Mayor.
gonna kick the tin a bit to council. I reckon probably that money should go into Glen, fixing Glen Ellen Road. Otherwise, there'll be other projects started, go on, and the roads will just fall a bit soon. They're right next door to Glen Ellen Road. I lost the argument years ago with the engineer. I wanted Glen Ellen Solar Farm to put several million into doing the road up. He said, no, we're bringing it through Ginger, which is what he did. And we missed out. But somehow or other, we've got to get some funds for these roads because it's not what they otherwise.
It's very narrow, that road, and yeah, it's not great.
Could I make a little comment just in relation to that? Those voluntary planning agreements for those 2 developments the money would come a very small amount over a very long time, which might not be good source of funding for a road project in the immediate future, because that's the nature of those payments. So it'd be a recurring payment over the life of the development, but a very small amount CPI, and so totaling probably more than $2 million from each one.
About 30 years.
Correct. So whether that would be a good source of funding for a road project that you would like to do today, maybe not, I would think.
I'm committed to you, Madam Mayor, the gentleman, thank you, gentleman. Even for argument's sake, it's only $10,000 this year. That will fill a few potholes. Otherwise, the engineer might say, we've got no money, which might be true too, sort of thing.
So you want to tie that BPA to Glen Ellen Road?
That's basically what I want to do.
Any other comments?
Through you, Madam Mayor. I'm not up to speed on the Glen Ellen BESS. Is it, where is it up to?
Well,
When would those funds start coming in?
they haven't been approved yet for a start, so I think it'd be a bit preemptive to tie to this particular matter tonight anyway, because we don't know the outcome of that. One of them is going to be considered by the Independent Planning Commission due to the amount of objections that have come, and council will receive a report about that one in the November meeting to see council's position whether it wishes to object or not. But we had received a report in several reports in 2024 about an offered VPA for the Chinderus battery energy storage system, and we did say that we were prepared to enter into a VPA with the company on the terms that were offered, which is essentially $150 per megawatt hour of storage, and that VPA, like I said, would pay approximately $2.3 million, but over 30 years. But it hasn't been approved yet. It may not be approved, so we can't preempt that. And the other one is a battery energy storage system, which is on the other side of the road from this, called Kilnock Creek battery energy storage system, similar size. So I would imagine the VPA would be the same, but it's very preliminary at this stage. So it's got quite a way to go. They're just preparing the EIS based on that process that I told council about earlier.
So it's going to be that's going to be a long wait, councillor.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to the engineer, Mr. Blackie, is there anything that we can do to relieve the problems with Glen Ellen Road in the nearest future?
Madam Mayor, obviously, as mentioned within the report, the proposal is currently it's a through road that's utilised by a lot of traffic, up by the heavier traffic, that doesn't utilise Georgia Road, Dice Forest Road, because Georgia Road flow limit. The reason why Georgia Road flow limit was probably because a lot of interstate transports bypass the state. I think it's a lot more regulated these days. I don't know if that's the issue, but like I said, I believe we should be considering it because the road, Georgia Road, is now being constructed to a higher standard. Dice Forest Road is to a high standard, and I believe we should be heavier vehicles through that road, which is no further than through Glen Road. That would alleviate the heavy vehicles clashing with smaller vehicles on a narrow road. It is narrow. If you have a look at the road, it's not badly potholed. It's got a few issues, but it's undulating and the pavement's been stressed. But it's not actually potholed. If you have to drive along it, it's rough, but it's not potholed. It's the edge, it's the narrowness of the road that is causing the most problems with people. But as soon as you get that edge of the road, you catch it. So, not cheap way. The quickest way, I think, to alleviate some concern without costing a lot is to push the heavy vehicles onto that. So I think we should do that, but we need to consult with the people because obviously the people, so we've got to consult with them. Other than that, there are some sections of the road, especially right down near the General Road, that's probably the worst of it, needs to be probably reconstructed. We've look in the program. Obviously, like I said, we'd have to take something else out of the program to do that, but that can consider next year's budget. Other than that, we've recently purchased a shoulder master machine, which we've actually done some widening work up on Rana Road. If anyone took up Bob Gandry, we've done from Fox Road. And that actually quickly does the shoulder work, widens the seal without the reconstruction of the road. And then we're going to utilise it on the Burrumbuttock Law Road as part of the program. But like I said, you can widen. It's still rough, but that's the big issue, and I suppose I want to consult with the people along there first before we find the bigger issues of what people are concerned about. I think the interaction with heavy vehicles on that road, I drive it a lot of time myself, that it's a more concern when you come across a semi or a bus that you're pushing onto the edge of the road, and that's disconcerting at times. So that's the biggest issue, and then we can do that by some regulatory controls. So I think we should focus on it first. If there is general support for that, it doesn't stop BWs going to properties. BWs and heavy vehicle load limits, it's only restricted through traffic, not going property, so it's not going to impact farming operation. But I think we need to get those for vehicles off the road first, which I think can be done relatively quickly and at less cost, but can actually do something as long as everyone's comfortable with it. That's why my belief is, and that's what we're report about, consulting about that first, and then look at the other major issues. Maybe do a couple of bends and some widening some areas without reconstructing the whole road, because there's a lot of roads out there that we love to reconstruct, but we haven't.
Thank you. Just one more question. Consultation and meetings with the community, reducing the speed limit, the load limit, fantastic. However, is this community requiring relief from damaged road at this particular time, or are they looking at a scope of the future? Is the condition of the road a problem at the moment that it prohibits people from freely travelling? Is it affecting the load?
I don't think it stops it freely moving anyone along that road. It's not high volume road. It's a medium sort of volume road, if you want to call that. It doesn't stop anyone freely doing it at this stage. I just don't see it in that sort of poor repair to cause that. I think the main disconcerting thing for people is when they come across large vehicles on the road, and the narrowness of the roads here is a big problem. If we can reduce a lot of that heavy vehicle movement, personally, I think that will give some grace to those. It obviously doesn't. People want perfect roads, great. But we haven't got the money to build every road in the Shire. Can't do that. It's not physically possible. But having to consider and talk to people first, and there might be a couple of specific sections they're very concerned about. We're happy, but I need to talk to them first. But, and we're happy to coordinate a meeting.
Thank you.
Councillor,
You can't drive, so it's Rodney Road, which is only that.
Yeah, and we wouldn't want people to do it. Unfortunately, we don't control speed limits, as well, I'm sure you're aware of that. There are some roads you'd like to reduce speed limits on and not others, but anyway, that's fact of life. So anyway, we'll move on to that.
Councillor Linder.
Madam Mayor, I've got a left bit of thing to consider, like given what Mr. Blackie said about the consultation, once we ascertain the level of urgency and safety, and given that it hasn't been budgeted for, could there possibly be the option of we, in the short term, transfer the funding from Gilbert Road to Glenellan Road to fix it up if it's deemed that the traffic levels are so high and it's the level of urgency and the danger as a short term way to alleviate the problem?
You know, that's the engineer.
We could argue many ways. We could also argue we could transfer the funds from Farm Buddy Quality Road.
Yeah.
There'll be a tender report coming to the next meeting on Joe. Like I said, I'm in the council's hands. Like, we prioritise things on expectation. Personally, like I said, I'd like to try and get some of these heavies off the road first. I don't think it's away. But I want to make sure that people are comfortable with that before we do it. And that will take a simple letter drop, bit of conversation and a meeting if required. Happy to do that, talk to people that are involved.
Through you, Madam Mayor, just to you, Mr. Blackie, firstly, I appreciate the level of consultation that you're doing up front with this project, and I think it's must needed to determine the scope and what's required. Can I just ask that, given the fact that we received a petition of somewhere in the vicinity of 400 signatures, that we don't delay too far on that consultation and we get underway at earliest convenience with that one, please?
Oh, there's no doubt we can arrange for things to happen and for things within a month or so. We'll just get it going. Yeah, have to do that, get it going.
Any other comments, questions? Happy with the recommendation, Councillor Hicks and Councillor Linder? Yep. Put it, all those in favour? All in favour, declare it carried. Item 2, tender TL 125. Thank you, Councillor Quinn and Councillor Hicks. Any comments, questions? Put it, all those in favour? All in favour, declare it carried. Corporate and Community Services, Part B. Would you like?
I move part B, C and D.
Certainly. Councillor Hicks has moved Part B, C and D. Anyone else? Thank you, Councillor Morton.
Make a comment on the
Certainly.
investment policy through you, Madam Mayor. A chap earlier in the day, Kim Lesky, talked about buying local. We should invest locally. I'll openly state that we should have 5 million in Hume Bank.
Totally agree.
If not, the board of directors of nearly all these organisations are in Melbourne or Sydney. And that's where they'll make the decision. That's what's happened to Bendigo. And Hume supports Gindra, Colcan and Holborn. We want to hang on to them. But I think most of the directors in Hume are now living in the capital in the south of the state. So there's local input's not there anymore. So
I think that I totally agree with you, Councillor Quinn. We've had this conversation before, you and I. And I think we have to change our policy with our investments to state that, you know, because we probably need to give, you know, instead of just investing in, you know, Bendigo Bank Australia-wide, we need to be investing in Bendigo Bank Henty branch so that those funds come back into our communities. So, you know, we'll have that conversation, I think, and and we'll work through that policy. I think that policy needs to change to state that. That makes sense. Would you?
Through you, Madam Mayor. Yes, we're happy. It's in our, one of our action items is to review the loan policy. Currently, we're using a broker, and I'm not sure whether that service has been procured. I'd have to go back and check, but the broker is the person that's advising us on, like, he's reviewing the market, and that's where we're being allocated, and we're doing a range of different investments. They mature at different times so that we've got cash available, different processes. There's a number of considerations, and we're using interest rates, diversity, timeliness of the loans that we're doing, and then we're doing that through a broker. So we could certainly, just to give a context of what's happening, it's not one person picking that particular bank. We're getting independent advice.
I think one of the problems with that too is that council doesn't pay the broker. That broker gets commissions from the banks, and that's a whole other story.
Through you, Madam Mayor, can we make a recommendation to the broker that's our desired?
Our policy, we need to change our policy to state that, and then with their guided by policy.
We'll be able to bring that policy soon.
No, but look, I know that the director is
No pressure.
been working on it.
In response to that, through you, Madam Mayor, Councillor Morton, I feel like we could probably start at the start of next year. Like, if that's okay with you, we just want to get through our auditors' report, and then we will get to that. It's an average item as well. So we will definitely be revising it, and we agree with the statements, but we've just got to set up how we do it and make sure that we're doing it correctly.
Any other comments or questions regarding B, C, and D? No? Not put it. All those in favour? All in favour? Any other matters of urgency?
Yours.
Yes, I have a matter of urgency, Madam Mayor. I believe that Sonia has a copy of that. Matter of urgency is that we commence immediate formulation of a policy requiring, first being all infrastructure projects located on Crown land and managed by Greater Hume Council with a project value exceeding $100,000 must be project managed by Council. Part 2 is a project and reporting schedule be established prior to the commencement of any such project. And the third part is that budget compliance reporting be incorporated in each progress report to ensure financial oversight and accountability throughout the project life cycle.
So I'll just put, if everyone thinks that that's a matter of urgency. Yep.
Yes.
Pause in the room.
Yes.
Good. All those in favour? Seconder?
I need a second.
Yeah. Councillor Hooper, thank you. Anyone have any comments? Happy with the motion?
If I through
I was just going to say through, I mean, the only comment I'd make, I know it's related to infrastructure projects located on Crown land managed by Greater. The core recreational field that some are actually on council owned.
That's right. So you have to.
There are,
That reflects.
so that's, there are.
So you'd say any projects, any community-based projects.
New ones.
And controlled by council.
So it could be
Yeah, it's a wording. It's a
It's a
wording.
wording thing, yeah.
it just needs to be added in.
And I think, and obviously this will go, you're envisaging this going through a workshop process.
Yes, I'm assuming that, policy will come to our attention of us, we councillors, so that we can discuss it.
Yeah, I know Councillor Lindy was a bit curious,
Yes.
so I was just confirming what you were thinking.
So can we just go back to changing, so located on Crown land or council owned land,
Yes.
correct?
I guess the wording at this stage isn't as important as the fact that we're considering a matter of urgency to bring it to a workshop to get it sorted.
Well, I guess
The motion's got to be right.
As soon as possible.
Yeah, the motion's got to be right. We've got to get it right now.
Wording has to be right.
Yeah.
And the motion actually says to develop the policy. The
That's
policy
right.
will then be
We
brought to the workshop.
That's right.
We're not working
Yeah.
policy.
Yes.
The policy's got to come to a workshop
Yeah.
when it's written for us to review.
So owned by
Just got to get the scope of this.
Controlled by-
The whole thing right.
Crown land and
and land owned by.
land owned by Greater Hume.
Yep.
And all.
That's fine.
And or, yeah, and or, yes.
Well, maybe you could just perhaps use the term public land. Because that'll encompass everything, won't it?
Yeah, but then you've got to define it, don't you? Yeah.
Oh,
Well, it's sort of public land and community-based projects or something. There's got to be just a slightly. I'm not saying that what you have put up there is not.
I'd say owned or managed. I think it should be owned or managed. Well, 'cause that's-
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, just get rid of the Crown land.
Yeah.
That would work. And then it,
owned or managed. Yeah, that's fair enough.
I'm happy with that.
All infrastructure projects located on land owned or managed by Greater Hume Council. Yep, happy with that?
I am, thank you.
Do we think, through you, Madam Mayor, 100,000 is a fair benchmark?
Can't get much for 100 grand anymore.
No, cannot.
No,
I think
well,
I'm happy with that.
that's my proposal. Yeah.
Well, you've got to have a value.
Yeah.
If 100 grand blows out by 10%, well, that's still $10,000 of ratepayers' money that we're dealing with. So I think you want to keep it down at a lower level.
But you
I'm
don't
happy
want
with
to
that.
hold up a garden shed.
No, that's right.
Swish garden.
So everyone's happy with the motion?
Yes.
Motion? Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? All in favour, declare to carry. There's nothing else? We'll close the meeting at 7:26. Thank you for your attendance.